Her hand came faster than her words. A slap, clean and loud, echoing through the kitchen like a gunshot in a church. I didn't flinch. Not out of pride. Just shock. The sting on my cheek was nothing compared to what came next. "I want you out of this house now, you bastard." She spat, chest heaving, eyes wild with something deeper than rage. I stared at her. At the woman I married. At the stranger she'd become. "Okay," I said, and walked past her like she wasn't even there. Outside, the night was cold and empty, like the space between us. A dog barked 2 houses down. My keys jingled like bells in a funeral. She wanted me gone because I wouldn't hand over my parents' house, not to her, but to her sister, Lila, fresh out of college with no plan, no job, no right. And that was my crime. I said no. I checked into a roadside motel that night. Room 208. Smelled like mold and someone else's cheap cologne. I didn't unpack. Just lay there, staring at the stained ceiling, listening to the heater wheeze like an old man trying to breathe. Claire didn't call. Neither did Leela. But someone did, our mutual friends, asking vague questions, trying not to pick sides. I said nothing. Let them sit with their silence. The next morning, I drove past the house. Leela's hatchback was in the driveway, already parked like she owned the place. Curtains wide open. Claire laughing inside, wine glass in hand. My chest tightened. My name was still on that deed. But in her eyes, I was already erased. I dug deeper. Old bank statements. Phone logs. Messages I hadn't noticed before, Claire's whispers, her slow shift away. I remembered the prenup. Her dismissive joke, just paper, babe. And something inside me steadied. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Something colder. Focused. I drove to my parents' house. Not the one Claire and I lived in, the real one. The one with creaky stairs and wallpaper that peeled like tired skin. It was empty now, but full of echoes. My father's radio still sat in the study. My mother's apron still hung in the pantry. The dust didn't bother me. It felt honest. I sat at their dining table and made calls. Quiet ones. My lawyer calm, sharp, meticulous. A realtor friend trusted, discreet. And a local charity foster care, housing kids who had nowhere else. That night, I drew up the trust. Ironclad. Irrevocable. The house would never belong to Claire. Not to Lila. Not to anyone who hadn't earned it. I stared at the document for a long time before signing. Not because I doubted it, because I felt calm. Like I had finally remembered who I was. A week later, Claire texted, "We'll be by Sunday to get the keys." Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I didn't reply. I just taped the envelope to the front door. They came dressed like conquerors, Claire, in a sharp coat. Leela with sunglasses perched on her head like a crown. But there was no fanfare waiting for them. Just the letter, fluttering slightly in the breeze. Claire grabbed it, tore it open, her smirk already twitching. I wasn't there to see her face, but I know exactly how it changed. How her lips curled into disbelief. How her voice dropped as she read aloud. This house is now held in trust under the James and Evelyn Carter Foundation. It will serve as a residence for foster children aging out of the system. This decision is final. It is legal. And it is irrevocable. You cannot have it. You never could. Claire's hands shook. He's bluffing, she said. Leela leaned in. He wouldn't, would he? Behind them, the porch creaked with ghosts. My mother's laughter. My father's footsteps. The door didn't open for them. My lawyer called me later. They're stunned, he said. Tried everything. It's done. I nodded. Do you want to say anything to them? No, I said. The letter said everything I needed to. I live alone now. Small apartment. Second floor. View of the city skyline through rain-speckled glass. Divorce papers came yesterday. I signed them without ceremony. I make coffee every morning and watch the world begin again. The silence doesn't hurt anymore. Sometimes I drive past the old house not to look at them, but to see the kids. There's laughter now. A garden growing. Bicycles on the lawn. The charity sends me updates, artwork taped to walls, handprints in paint, names I'll never know calling that place home. Claire never reached out again. Not after the letter. Not after the trust. Maybe she realized what she lost. Maybe she never cared. Doesn't matter now. I didn't fight her with rage. I didn't scream. I just walked away with the one thing she never expected: dignity. And as I sit here, coffee in hand, I remember what my father once said: some battles aren't won with fists or fury, just with the strength to walk away and mean it.